welcome to your deep dive.
Yeah,
We're all about giving you that 1% edge.
absolutely.
And today we're going to be looking at
Mm-hmm.
Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Yeah, one of my favorites.
It's a really good one.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the playbook for getting rid of bad habits and building good ones.
It is, and it's very practical.
It is.
Yeah.
It's not just theory.
Yeah, so we're excited to get into it.
Yeah.
We're calling this the Top 1% Book Club for a reason.
Yeah.
We're trying to give you those insights that are going to help you reach your full potential.
That's right. We're all about actionable insights.
Yeah.
And Clear's book is just packed with them.
Yeah, and one of the coolest things is how tiny changes can lead to huge results over time.
Right.
He uses this analogy of compound interest.
Yeah.
Like small investments can grow exponentially.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same with habits.
Makes sense.
Those 1% improvements each day really add up.
It's fascinating how that works, right?
It is. It's not about some massive overnight transformation.
Right.
It's the consistency,
Mm.
the dedication to those small improvements that make the real difference.
Yeah, and it really puts it into perspective, too.
That does.
Because if you get 1% better each day for a year,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to end up 37 times better by the end of it.
That's why.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It makes you realize how much power we really have
Oh, do.
to shape our lives
Yeah.
just by focusing on those little things.
Yeah.
So how do we actually make those changes stick?
Right.
So Clear lays out these 4 laws of behavior change,
Yeah. The 4 laws
which are,
give you a framework for making the habits you want more likely and the ones you don't want less likely.
right.
Yeah.
They're all about understanding how our brains work
Mm-hmm.
and using that knowledge to our advantage.
Absolutely.
All right, let's break them down.
Okay.
The first one is make it obvious.
Mm-hmm.
So Clear talks about how our environment plays a huge role in shaping our habits.
That's right.
So if you want to create a new habit, yeah,
You need to make the cues for that habit super obvious.
for sure.
So, like, if you want to drink more water,
Yeah.
keep a full water bottle on your desk
Yes.
where you can't miss it.
Love it.
I think he had an example, too, about, like, his vitamin D pills.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He talks about struggling to remember his vitamin D pills until he moved them from a drawer to his kitchen counter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And just that simple change
Mhm.
made his consistency skyrocket.
Yeah.
It's about reducing that initial friction,
Right.
making it easier to get started.
Yeah. And speaking of making things easy, that's the third law.
Mm-hmm.
Make it easy.
Make it easy. Yep.
It's kind of like the flip side of make it obvious.
It is.
You want to remove any roadblocks that might make it harder to do the habit?
I think about it in terms of preparation.
Okay.
So if you want to work out in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
pack your gym bag the night before.
Right.
If you want to eat healthy,
Yep.
chop up some veggies on Sunday to have them ready for the week.
Anything you can do to minimize that initial effort makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those little things add up.
I do.
Okay. So we've got make it obvious and make it easy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about make it attractive.
Yes.
The second law.
Okay.
This is where we tap into that motivation factor
Mhm.
and make our habits something we actually want to do.
One of the things I find so insightful about Atomic Habits is that it's not about willpower.
Right.
It's about understanding how your brain works and using that to your advantage.
Yeah.
And that's where a technique like habit stacking comes in.
Okay.
It's basically pairing a habit you want to build with something you already enjoy.
Right.
Right.
I think he had that example of the audiobooks.
Oh, yeah. Clear talks about how he only allowed himself to listen to his favorite audiobooks while at the gym.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So he was linking something he wanted to do with something he needed to do.
Yeah.
And it made the whole experience more enjoyable.
Way more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's brilliant because you're essentially rewiring your brain
Yeah.
to see the habit as something positive
Yeah.
and rewarding
Mm-hmm.
rather than something you dread.
Right.
And that brings us to the fourth law.
Okay.
Make it satisfying.
Yes.
This one's all about making sure your good habits actually feel good.
Okay.
So you'll be more likely to repeat them.
So is that where like a reward system might come in?
That's right.
Okay.
Clear talks about giving yourself an immediate reward after completing a habit,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's something small.
Okay.
That immediate reward, even something as simple as a few minutes of listening to your favorite music,
Right.
creates a positive association with the habit.
Yeah.
Your brain gets a little hit of dopamine,
Uh-huh.
and that reinforces the behavior, making you more likely to do it again.
Yeah.
So
It's like that positive feedback loop.
it is.
Yeah.
It's a positive feedback loop.
You do the habit, you feel good, you're more likely to do it again.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah,
Okay, we've covered a lot here,
we have.
but there's still so much more to dig into with these 4 laws, you
Yeah,
know? So how do we actually apply this to your life?
that's a great question, and that's exactly where we'll go next.
Okay.
Let's take these 4 laws and get really specific,
All right.
looking at how they can be tailored to the listener's unique goals and challenges.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, folks.
All right.
We'll be right back with more from Atomic Habits.
More to come.
Okay, so we're back. And, we talked about those 4 laws of behavior change.
Yeah. Those are great.
Make it obvious, attractive,
Yeah.
easy,
Yeah.
and satisfying.
Yeah.
But how do we actually make this work in real life?
Right.
Because it's easy to just get bogged down with all the theory.
I think one of the biggest hurdles people face when trying to build new habits is the expectation of instant results.
Right.
Like
We want it now.
we live in a world of instant gratification,
Right.
but real change,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
lasting change,
Yeah.
takes time. And that's where Clear's concept of the plateau of latent potential comes in.
Okay.
Have you heard of this before?
I have heard of it, but I would love for you to explain it.
Yeah, so imagine a stonecutter hammering away at a rock.
Okay.
For the first 99 blows, nothing seems to happen.
Yeah.
The rock stays solid,
Mm-hmm.
but then on that 100th blow, it suddenly splits in two.
Right.
It's tempting to think that final blow did all the work,
Right.
but it was actually all those previous blows
Yeah.
that weakened the rock and set up that final break.
Wow, that's a really good analogy.
It is, right?
Because I think we all feel like that sometimes where we're just like hitting our head against a wall.
Yeah.
And we just want to give up.
Totally.
But it's like you were saying, you have to just keep chipping away at it.
Exactly. It's about trusting the process.
Mm.
Knowing that even when you don't see those changes right away, your efforts are compounding beneath the surface
Yeah,
and then boom, breakthrough.
I like that.
Like planting a seed,
Okay.
you don't see the sprout right away. Yeah.
But it's growing underground,
Right.
developing a strong root system,
Uh-huh.
and then suddenly it bursts through the soil.
So how do we know when we're on that plateau?
Yeah.
And how do we get through it?
I think that's where those 4 laws come in handy.
Okay.
When you feel stuck,
Mm-hmm.
go back to the basics.
Yeah.
Are you making the habit obvious enough,
Right.
attractive enough,
Mm-hmm.
easy enough,
Yeah.
satisfying enough?
Okay.
Sometimes just a small tweak to your approach can make a huge difference.
Okay.
And remember, tracking your progress can be super helpful, especially when you're feeling discouraged.
Yeah, I was going to say that because it's like if you are tracking it, then you can actually see how far you've come.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Seeing how far you've come can be a powerful motivator.
It can be really motivating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally.
Okay, this whole idea of trusting the process
Yeah.
really ties in well with another big concept from Atomic Habits,
Yes.
which is systems over goals.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
I think this is one of the most transformative ideas in the book.
Okay.
It's a real shift in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
We're so conditioned to focus on goals, like what we want to achieve,
Yeah.
but Clear argues that it's actually our systems,
Okay.
our daily habits and routines
Yeah.
that ultimately determine our success.
So it's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
Precisely.
Okay.
Think about it this way. The purpose of setting goals is to win the game.
Okay.
But the purpose of building systems is to continue playing the game.
Okay.
And when you focus on the system,
Yeah.
the results take care of themselves.
I like that.
Clear uses a great quote from the San Antonio Spurs coach Greg Popovich,
Okay.
who said, "We don't worry about winning.
Mm.
If we do what we're supposed to do, the winning will take care of itself."
Oh, I love that.
It's a good one, right?
Yeah.
Because it takes the pressure off the outcome.
It does.
And it puts the focus on what you can control, which is your actions,
Mhm.
your effort, your system.
Yeah. Like if you want to write a book,
Right.
your goal might be to get it published.
Yeah,
But your system is the daily act of writing,
totally.
even if it's just for a few minutes each day.
Exactly. It's about showing up consistently,
Mm-hmm.
day after day, and trusting that those small efforts will compound over time.
Yeah.
And that brings us to another powerful concept from Atomic Habits,
Okay.
identity-based habits.
Okay. This is where things get interesting.
It's a game changer.
It is.
It's about shifting your thinking from, I want to achieve this outcome,
Mm-hmm.
to, I am the kind of person who does this.
Right.
Instead of saying, I want to lose weight,
Yeah.
you say, I'm a healthy person who prioritizes exercise and nutritious food.
So it's about aligning your actions with your self-image.
That's it.
Yeah.
When your habits become part of your identity, They're no longer something you force yourself to do,
Right.
but rather an expression of who you are.
Yeah. Like it becomes a part of you.
It does.
Yeah.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It is.
Yeah.
So if you see yourself as a runner, you're
Yeah.
more likely to get out there and run.
Exactly. You're more likely to lace up your shoes and hit the pavement.
Yeah.
Even on those days when you don't feel like it.
Right.
It becomes part of your identity, part of your routine, part of your nature.
Yeah. So what happens when that falters?
Right.
Like we all have days where we don't feel like our best selves.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
So how do we solidify that?
That's where those small wins become so crucial.
Okay.
Every time you choose to act in alignment with your desired identity,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's something small, you're reinforcing that identity.
Yeah.
You're casting a vote for the person you want to become.
So even if I don't feel like a runner today,
Yeah.
just the act of putting on my shoes and going for a walk, even for a short walk,
Exactly.
is a step in the right direction.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's not just about physical habits. This applies to any area of your life. If you want to be a writer, the act of writing, even if it's just for a few minutes, reinforces that identity.
Okay.
If you want to be a more patient parent,
Mm-hmm.
every time you choose to respond calmly to your child's tantrum,
Right.
you're strengthening that identity.
I love that.
Yeah,
It really highlights how much control we have over shaping our own identities,
we do.
even in the face of challenges.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm feeling super inspired to get back to those 4 laws and start applying them
Yeah,
in a more intentional way.
love it.
With this identity-based approach in mind,
Yeah.
how can we help our listener do the same?
Well, one of the most common pitfalls I see is people getting stuck in a cycle of waiting for motivation to strike before taking action.
Oh, yeah.
But the truth is, action often precedes motivation.
So we don't have to wait for that magical...
You don't
right?
have to wait for that magical burst of inspiration to get started. It's about creating clarity around what you want to do, when you're going to do it, and how you're going to do it.
Right.
This removes the guesswork and makes it much easier to follow through.
Yeah.
And that's where Clear's concept of implementation intentions comes in.
Implementation intentions.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me more.
It's a simple but incredibly effective technique.
Okay.
It's all about using if-then statements to pre-plan your response to specific situations.
Okay.
For example, instead of vaguely saying, I'm going to eat healthier,
Mm-hmm.
you might say, if it's lunchtime and I'm at work,
Yeah.
then I'm going to choose the salad from the cafeteria instead of the burger and fries.
That takes out the decision fatigue
Exactly.
in the moment.
It removes the decision fatigue in the moment, which is often when we fall back on old habits.
Yeah, because you already have your plan.
You've got a plan.
Yeah,
It's like having a plan in place for those moments of weakness.
I like that.
Yeah.
And another key to success is designing your environment to make it easier to stick to your habits.
Yes.
Right.
This might involve removing temptations,
Mm,
setting up visual reminders,
right.
or even just rearranging your furniture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I'm trying to cut back on sugar,
Yeah.
maybe I just need to hide the cookies.
Put them out of sight.
Yeah.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Out of sight, out of mind. Exactly.
Or if you're trying to read more, keep a book on your bedside table so it's the first thing you see when you wake up.
Right. I love that.
It's about creating an environment that supports your desired habits.
Right.
Rather than sabotaging them.
Right.
And remember, we're not just talking about physical environment.
Right.
Your digital environment is just as important.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like maybe unsubscribing from all those shopping emails.
Exactly. Unsubscribing from those tempting shopping emails
I...
or unfollowing those social media accounts that make you feel bad about yourself.
Yes.
It's about taking control of your digital inputs
Mm-hmm.
and creating a space that nourishes your mind and supports your goals.
Yeah. This is so insightful. It is, right? It's like all these pieces fit together.
I do.
The 4 laws, the plateau of latent potential systems over goals,
Yeah.
identity-based habits, implementation, intentions, environmental design.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this whole toolbox
It is.
for creating lasting change.
And the best part is you don't have to do it all at once.
Right.
Start small, focus on building one habit at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And remember that progress, not perfection,
Yeah,
is the goal.
I love that.
Yeah,
It's a good reminder
it is.
to just be patient with ourselves.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think we covered a ton of ground here.
we have.
Are we ready to move on to our final stretch
Let's do it.
of our deep dive into atomic habits?
Absolutely. Let's wrap things up with some final nuggets of wisdom from James Clear
Okay.
and talk about how we can empower our listener to make those atomic habits stick for good.
All right, we are back. And, I'm feeling super energized after talking about all those insights from Atomic Habits.
Me too. It's really good stuff.
That's really good. We talked about the power of small changes. Those 4 game-changing laws of behavior change the importance of systems and even, how our habits shape our identity.
It's pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah.
James Clear has a way of taking these complex ideas
He does.
and breaking them down into practical, actionable steps.
And one of the things that he emphasizes that I think is really crucial is the power of showing up.
Oh, yeah.
Even when you don't feel like it. This reminds me of that don't break the chain principle that he talks about.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
I've actually tried that myself.
Oh, cool.
And it's amazing how motivating it can be to see that visual representation of your consistency.
Oh, it's so simple, but so powerful.
It is.
Seeing that unbroken chain of X's on your calendar can really inspire you to keep going even when you're tempted to skip a day.
Yeah.
And even more importantly, showing up consistently even on your off days reinforces your identity as someone who follows through on their commitments.
So like if I'm really tired and I don't want to go to the gym, but I go anyway.
Yeah.
I'm basically proving to myself that I'm the type of person who prioritizes their health.
That's right. You're building that belief in your ability to follow through, even when things get tough.
And that builds self-trust.
It does.
Which is so important for everything.
It is. It's essential for any kind of lasting change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember you mentioned something earlier about finding your zone of genius.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was a really interesting part of the book.
It's so empowering to think about how we can leverage our strengths to create habits that feel more effortless and enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's not just about working hard, it's about working smart.
Right.
Imagine trying to force yourself to develop a habit that goes against your natural inclination.
Right.
It would be an uphill battle all the way.
It would.
But when you align your habits with your inherent strengths and passions, it's like you're tacking into a source of energy that propels you forward.
It's like it flows.
It does. It flows.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
It reminds me of Michael Phelps.
Oh, yeah.
Who, obviously was like a really gifted swimmer.
Yeah.
And, he found incredible success.
He did.
Because he was doing something that came naturally to him.
Right. He was in his zone of genius.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean we all have to be Olympic athletes to find our zone of genius.
Right.
It's about identifying those activities that light you up.
Yeah.
Those things you could do for hours without getting bored.
Yeah.
And then finding ways to incorporate those activities into your daily life.
Right.
Even in small ways.
I love that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a chore.
It doesn't be enjoyable.
It can be a way to express ourselves, to explore our passions, to live a more fulfilling life.
I like that.
It's good stuff.
Okay. I think we covered just about everything from Atomic Habits.
I think so too.
Any final words of wisdom for our listener before we wrap up?
I think the biggest takeaway from this book is that change is possible. Even if it feels small and insignificant at first.
Right.
Those tiny changes, those 1% improvements, they have the power to transform our lives if we're consistent and patient.
And remember, building good habits is a journey, not a destination.
That's right.
There will be ups and downs, there will be challenges and setbacks.
There will be, for sure.
But the key is to keep showing up, to keep learning, and to never give up on yourself.
That's beautifully said. And as James Clear reminds us, success is the product of daily habits, not once-in-a-lifetime transformations.
I love that.
That's a good one.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Atomic Habits.
It's been fun.
And we hope you are feeling inspired to get out there and start building those atomic habits that will lead you to your 1% edge.
Absolutely.